Good morning, sunshines. Don't mind the craziness. That is my hair. It is evening time and I meant to record this a lot sooner than I am, but my baby is now officially a month old. Again, I'll say it every time I say it. So crazy to say. But we had an interesting 36 hours together. So my husband went out of town for the first time since we had her, and I was completely alone with her by myself for 36 hours. And needless to say, I'm making this video just to, again, relate to other first-time moms out there. Maybe you're not even a first-time mom and this happened to you. It's not all smooth going. It's not all positive all the time. There are times where you get so frustrated with your baby, and more than anything, when my baby cries, it just breaks my heart, to be honest. I feel like a failure if I can't get the crying to stop, and I was totally confident going into this 36 hours up until a couple of days before, because I can handle the crying. Every time she was crying, it was a cue for something, and I was pretty good at reading her cues by this point, a few weeks into it. But a few days before, that week leading up to him going out of town, we didn't know he was leaving until last minute. I don't want to call it a witching hour. I know that's what the internet calls it, because that is totally a thing. I don't think that's her thing, but she did have a few days where she was just crying inconsolably and she wouldn't latch, she wouldn't do anything basically. She just screechingly cried and we couldn't console her. I mean, everything that she usually loves. She loves music to distract her. She loves walking. She loves walking on the walking pad and the sound of it. We thought of everything. We were doing rattles, we were singing, we were dancing, we were putting her in the bouncer, we were rocking her, we were swaying with her. I mean, everything, and just inconsolable. We eventually, of course, consoled her, but it was very disheartening, and it felt, especially for me, because I think she was probably hungry in those times, because how it was solved was my husband was like, last thing we can think of, try and pump a bottle and see if she'll take the bottle instead. And lo and behold, she did, and that calmed her down, pacified her enough for her to lull into a sleep, and that was that. But that was really defeating, to be like, okay, so she was hungry and that was the issue, and I had to pump and give her a bottle instead of her lashing. I've realized it just comes to a point where she works herself up. Yeah, she's in her bouncer. She works herself up so much to the point where she can't calm down enough to latch. That's the problem. And I tried different positions. We tried laying back, we tried laying down, we tried switching sides. I mean, we tried everything, burping her in between, everything we could think of. And it was just very disheartening. And so going into the 36 hours, my husband leaves for work at 7:30 in the morning. He was like, are you nervous? I said, up until a few days ago, I would have said no. But now I'm like, are we gonna have this kind of witching hour type inconsolability or not? You just never know what's gonna happen. Oh, let's go get her. Visitor again. This is just a regular visitor. I miss my videos now. But we just didn't know. I didn't know what I was gonna get, because she has been fine most days, but then she had this couple of bad days, and then the day before he left, she was completely fine. So it was just kind of like roulette. It was like, okay, I feel like I'm gonna be okay at this point, but we'll see. And needless to say, that day when he left for work started off on such a high, because the biggest thing for me with having a baby is just trying to be productive with one, because you don't have free hands. It's really hard to be able to just do your whatever you want. You can't really do that. So that's been the hardest thing. And I tried putting her in the little strap-on carrier previously, and she did not like it. She screamed bloody murder. But I think she was just too small for it at that point. Now that she's a little bit bigger, because babies grow so fast, she also can't keep her passy in very well. Now that she's a little bit bigger and she loves to like lay on my chest and everything, I was like, let me just try one more time. So I put on the carrier that morning after he left, and lo and behold, got her in it. She loved it, fell asleep. She loves looking around. She'll look around for like 10-15 minutes before she falls asleep in it, and she would be asleep for a couple hours in it. So I literally wore her in the carrier all day, like until I think 1 o'clock that afternoon. I got so much done because my in-laws were also coming into town, so I was washing sheets and dishes and all this stuff. I felt so good. I was on top of the world, on cloud 9, and just so happy with how the day was going. And I thought, I got this. We're not having the inconsolable crying at the end of the day. We're good. Put her down in the crib to try and get her down for a bassinet or a crib nap, and that didn't last very long. I would say we were good up until like 4:30-ish was when the crying started, and it progressively got worse. So I was doing things to kind of calm her down. There were some things that worked, some things that didn't. I did a little vlog on this too on my TikTok, just of the day and kind of how it went, because it really did start out smooth. If you watch that vlog, I did a voiceover in it saying, this looks like a really productive first time mom day, and wow, she's got it together. But that vlog ended at 2 p.m. because after that was when the crying started and the craziness started. And that was okay. Looking back at it, I actually really grew from it. But around 4:30 she started crying, so we tried feeding, and she was just really fussy during feeding, not feeding very much. Can you keep that in your mouth? There we go. Not feeding very much, not staying latched. She kind of does that randomly at times where she just like doesn't want to latch. She's fussy, she wants to look around, or she gets distracted. I know her wake windows are about 45 minutes, so I was trying to get her down for a nap. She did not want to go down for her nap. Usually if I walk with her on that walking pad over there, she'll fall asleep within 10 minutes. Couldn't get her to fall asleep, so then I was just walking around in circles here to see if that made a difference. Nothing. Tried putting her back in the carrier. That made it worse, even though she had loved it all day and napped in it all day. Made it worse. The crying continued to escalate, and then we switched her to the football hold, and I started singing, and that calmed her down for a little while. I was like, okay, there we go. I got it. She's good. She'll definitely fall asleep like this. I literally did that for probably an hour, and while she was calm and not necessarily crying, she would not go down to sleep, and then the crying started again, even though we were still doing the same thing. So that started. We tried her music box. I tried playing music. I tried holding her in different positions, sitting with her, sitting in the rocking chair, humming. I mean, just talking to her, reading a book to her. Nothing was working. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. Nothing was working, and I felt so defeated. When you're in the middle of the week, I have that knowledge that my husband is coming home at the end of the night, and if I need to pass her off to him to go take a shower or do whatever, I can. And knowing that that wasn't going to happen that night, the panic kind of started to set in. And I can say by the end of the night, I was absolutely crying, feeling so defeated. I was texting him. I was this close to being like, get back in the car and come home. I can't do this alone. My husband, I want to say, also just felt so bad when I was texting him too, because he could like hear the panic in my texts and couldn't really do anything because he was working. So he's literally like Googling things while he's out of town for work, trying to send me ideas of what to do, and I'm just in panic mode. The other thing is, your baby can sense when you're in panic. They know the hormones, they know when you're panicking, they know when you're distressed, which is going to make them more distressed. So that also didn't help the situation. If you're in the situation, the calmer you can be, the better. And I will say, over the weekend, when our in-laws were here and she was getting fussy and overstimulated, calm, cool, and clear. Like after the chaos of that, I was like, I can handle anything. I was so calm the whole time, and that surely helped the situations, I can tell you, because she did not cry or fuss nearly as long as she did the previous times when it would send me into a panic. But the other one lasted so long, it was so hectic and chaotic. I was like, nothing can be worse than that, right? it was right. Nothing could have been worse than that. I was able to handle anything after that. So it was a learning experience. We came out positive on the other end. Glass is always half full and half empty at the end of the day. The hard part was too, is when this happened the last time, he was like, okay, go pump, give him the baby, I'll go pump. He deals with the crying while I get that done. Don't have that. She didn't want to do the carrier. She wouldn't stay in the bouncer. The crying just got worse. So I was trying to put pump parts together and pump while consoling her all at the same time. And that made it so much more difficult and stressful in the situation. It took a while to get it to pump. Finally did, and she's worked herself up so much that she won't even latch to the bottle. So that didn't work for a little while, and then I finally tried putting her in the bouncer and feeding her that way, and for some reason it calmed her down, and I did a slow feeder so that it would last a little bit longer for her. Did that enough to calm her down, gave her half the bottle, burped her, swaddled her up, and then gave her the rest of the bottle. And honestly, I think it was mostly the crying that made her so tired. She just tuckered herself out at that point, and she slept amazingly. But in the midst of all of that, I had stripped our bed and washed our sheets, and before I could put them in the dryer to be done was when all this started. So I realized at 9 o'clock at night, when this was all handled, oh no, I need to go to bed and I have no sheets on the bed, and I was petrified to wake her up and go back into this. So I'm texting my husband. We have the Owlet on her. I had the Owlet app pulled up, and I was sitting out here, and I was sitting out here waiting for her to go into deep sleep before even attempting to go in there because I was just so scared of waking her up. Oh my goodness. You're just talking to the camera, aren't you? Yeah. See, I just want to talk to you, Mom. Yes, let's put you up. So I watched our outlet until it said she was in deep sleep, and then I, as quietly as possible, did not turn any lights on, made that bed in the dark, and she did not move a muscle. She slept for hours that night. She, I think, just tuckered herself out that much. And hey, that was great for me, but I remember waking up for that first feeding in the middle of the night, and I was like, oh no, how is this gonna go? Because it was just so bad the night before for hours, and it went perfectly fine. So I don't know what it is. I wouldn't call it a witching hour by any means, but she just gets in these fits every once in a while, and she kind of remained fussy through that weekend. The next day my in-laws came and they got here later in the afternoon. My husband got home at 7:30 p.m. that next day, so he was gone for 36 hours, which was stressful in that moment, but we got it figured out. I was crying, she was crying, but honestly, coming out of it, I think I figured out her cues better. And even over the weekend when she was getting overstimulated and fussy, I could calm her down in all of it. Even when it got out of control, once I had her, I could figure it out and get it handled and get her down for a nap. And she definitely, especially when there's more than just my husband and I around, she does not want to sleep. When my mom came one time, she got here at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and she did not go down for a nap until like 7 o'clock that night. My mom got her down for us. That was our first day or second day of screeching, but that was just overtiredness. So we definitely knew what that one was. And then when my in-laws came, her wake windows, she was very happy, but they didn't last very long. She would either get hangry, or trying to get her down for a nap with all the people was just really hard. She was fighting that sleep. I think she gets a little bit of FOMO. She definitely gets that from me. So that was difficult. But again, I feel like as horrible as those 36 hours were by myself, or I won't say 36 hours because the majority of them were good. That like little stretch of 4:30 p.m. to getting her down at 9:30 p.m. As horrible as that was and kind of traumatizing, I feel like we are even closer now than we were before. We're sharing lots of hormones at this point. I just wanted to say that it's hard to listen to your baby cry and just feel like everything you do is wrong. Definitely. And my husband kind of experienced that when he came back. He was like, every time I hold her, she's crying. I was like, I don't think that's the problem. I think she's just been overstimulated and overtired the entire time because she doesn't want to sleep when we have more people here. She's like, my Lolly's here, I want to play with Lolly, but then she doesn't really know her cues yet, you know? So she's a baby at the end of the day, and we're figuring it out. But if you get nervous that first time when maybe you're by yourself and don't have the hope of your partner coming home, it'll be okay. You'll come out the other side. It may not be the perfect day that you imagined, even if it starts off great, like me. Started off wonderfully and then quickly went downhill. We figured it out. We got it done. And I just wanted to share that to all the moms who might feel discouraged, because it definitely was very discouraging to me. And especially in those moments, it doesn't happen super often, but where I just can't get her to latch to breastfeed, I feel like such a failure in those moments, because it's like I know she's hungry and I just can't get her to feed, and having to like pump a bottle in the midst of her being hungry and fussy is just so frustrating. So I'm like, why is the bottle working and this isn't working? And you just don't know. At the end of the day, crying is our way of communicating, and that's what I have to keep telling myself. The crying's not necessarily always a bad thing, of course, but it is really hard to sit here and hear and try and decipher what kind of crying it is and what cue it is and how to fix it for them. And it just kind of breaks your heart to have to listen to them be upset, because it is your baby at the end of the day. So if you're a mom out there, especially a first-time mom, you got it. Keep trudging along. You'll get there. You'll come out on the other end, and good luck to you. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe. Would love to hear any of your horror stories you might have from your babies down in the comments below. Love interacting and hearing anything you guys have to offer. But you've got it, mamas. Keep trudging along, especially my first time ones out there. We're learning as we go, and when the next ones come, we will be able to handle it even better the next time, is what I keep telling myself. Until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!